Hello and welcome to Your Health Moment podcast. I'm your host, Max Sturdivant, better known as Dr. Fitness. On this podcast, I want to give you the tools to start, continue, and never give up on your journey towards health. Now, whether you struggle with your weight, eating the right food, hydration, exercise, or even time management, you're in the right place, and I'm here for you. Now, let's dive right into this episode. Hey, welcome back to Your Health Moment. I'm Dr. Fitness, and we have a very exciting show today. A friend of mine reached out and introduced me and connected me to Christopher Kell. He's born and raised right here in Jacksonville. He has a great story and an amazing product, and I'd love for you to hear about it straight from Chris. So, Chris, if you can tell the listeners who you are, and then let them know about the product, Neotein.
Absolutely. I'll do a quick introduction for myself. Thank you so much, by the way, Max. I really appreciate being on your podcast and just having a chance to talk to you and learn from you for the next half hour or so, and hopefully more in the future. But yeah, I'm Chris Kell. Nice to meet everybody. Nice to meet you, Max. And I am the Chief Operating Officer for Neotein Nutrition. But first of all, I am a guy that was born and raised here in Jacksonville, Florida. Went all through public school. My mom was a Duval County public school teacher for over 30 years. She taught at Crown Point Elementary School. I ended up graduating from Wolfson in 2004 and then proceeded to leave, headed to the University of Florida, graduated there with an East African history degree, and then commissioned into the Army as an officer. There I spent time in Germany, Africa, North Africa, East Africa, the Middle East, Afghanistan, things along those lines, and Eastern Europe, kind of in a couple different positions. But I spent my last 6 years as a active duty civil affairs operator working for Special Operations Command Africa, and then also helping with a couple of deployments in Eastern Europe as well. And that's where a lot of my experience comes from. Long story short, my wife got pregnant on my last deployment, and I left the Army pretty much the next day because I wanted to be an active and present father. Took me a few months to find my footing, but I got a job with a Fortune 5 company that ended up taking us all over the United States and then actually to Japan for a couple of years. And during that time, my wife, who had 2 children via cesarean section within 12 months of each other, started pursuing triathlon to try to kind of get a hold back to what she did before that incredibly kind of physically demanding year of having kids. And she's actually the inventor and the developer of the product. And, I gave some feedback from my background. But it was actually in Japan. She was training almost 30 hours a week. She's on her bike. She's swimming. When I'm home, I'm taking care of the kids so she could go for a long run down in Osaka, Japan at night. And we just couldn't find anything on the market that could meet the needs that we were looking for. So I took collagen in the morning. I took a supplemental whey protein, and I would, of course, drink water. Something called, or if I was really dehydrated, if it was like really hot in the summer in Japan, I would drink something called sweat, which sounds really bad, but it tastes really good. It's like the Japanese version of like what we consider a Gatorade. And, I had all these products in there, and Shiris is doing research, and she's like, why don't people just use collagen? And that started kind of like 2 years of research and development into what ended up being Neotein, which is our proprietary formulation, which is basically a fortified collagen protein that has electrolytes in it and pretty much nothing else. No sugar. It's not going to spike your insulin. And because we fortified the collagen protein, you get all the benefits of like a collagen supplement, but and most of the benefits of like a whey or an egg protein, because it is technically a complete protein because it has the complete amino acid profile, but without a lot of the allergens associated with it. My time in the Army, I was exposed to everything. So I'm allergic to a lot of stuff now. Like I learned about inflammation because I was inflamed all the time, no matter what I ate. And it was actually moving to Japan and getting off of kind of like my traditional Western diet and getting into like a Japanese diet. Mm-hmm. That had me like, oh, my headaches are going away. Oh, this is making me feel better for these reasons. And that's what made me realize like I'm allergic to dairy. I'm allergic to whey. I have some allergens to some traditional, very popular Western things. So we developed this product that's a single stick pack, single serving with 10 grams of protein, tastes like lemon lime, that is easy to absorb, easy to digest, and is supposed to be really easy on the body while still providing a lot of benefits like hydration and protein at the same time.
Very cool.
So,
and where's your collagen sourced? The collagen that you use?
The collagen is sourced from the United States.
Oh, okay.
So it's 100% sourced in the United States, manufactured, put together in the United States, from a company out of New Jersey. Well, they're also out of Long Island as well. But it comes from the Northeast. The cows come from the West. My time in kind of like the senior levels of like a logistics agency kind of made me realize that I think COVID taught us a lot of things, but one thing it definitely taught us is supply chain resiliency was really important for us. And we wanted to make sure we could keep costs down for ourselves and for our customers by and lead times down by ensuring everything is from the United States that we do and what we make. So that's something that we're very proud of, that we're able to kind of put money back into our economy whenever we do an order for our next flavor or for our backup for lemon lime or things along those lines. That's
crazy. So would the 10-year-old Chris ever imagine that he would be COO of Neotein?
Oh gosh, no. The 10-year-old Chris was just trying to figure out, well, shoot, that's the end of elementary school, right? So I was doing soccer. I was outside a lot. I was sweating my butt off all the time. And I think that I would never dream this to be a possibility. Like, my mom worked really hard, and that's something that I definitely took from her, is that hard work. But coming from our family, I was taught that if you work hard, you're going to be okay and you're going to make it. And I don't think I believed it, just to be honest, because we were on a limited budget most of the time, and we didn't have a lot. My mom did her very best to provide for us. Don't get me wrong. She worked 2 jobs. She worked job in the morning, and then she'd work at the Avenues Mall until 9 or 10 o'clock at night to make sure we could like cover the bills and stuff. But I just didn't believe it. And then it's like one of those things, if you keep at it and you keep just doing it, if you might not believe it, eventually hard work becomes truth and reality. And it's kind of led us to here. And I'm really proud of the stuff that she kind of taught me and she instilled in me during my time growing up.
It seems you have connections to 2 super women, your mother as well as your wife. I mean, 2 children, running triathlons, training all the time. I mean, coming up with the idea for the product. Wow. I mean, that's like serious. So she's really probably just as highly motivated and on top of things and organized as you are.
I would say she's probably more than I am. So I think what I discovered about myself is I'm really good at taking something and like refining it and making it better, and taking my experiences that I've had and like taking risks in like a kind of like not in a box, but in like an open field that has like boundaries on it. My wife is really good at just getting off the field and going into the woods and then climbing the mountain and just going into the uncharted territory. So it's been really fun for me to be part of this business with her. And I think I've had a lot of people like, y'all can work together. I'm like, yeah, we can work together. Like, congratulations. Well done. So it's been really fun being able to kind of be part of that and help her streamline some things while she gives this really awesome vision of what we can do. And while it's going to be hard to get there, like, it's possible. So
that's
I think we're very much like a yin and yang, we feed off each other's energy a lot, and that's been really helpful. It's been hard sometimes, but it's been very, very helpful the entire time.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because not all family businesses work as seamlessly as yours seems to be working. That's for sure. But congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
What was the target audience? I mean, when you guys were thinking about the product, who was your customer?
So our customer was a busy human being that didn't have time to kind of go to 2 or 3 different sources for like one product. So we really tried to create almost a one-stop shop for the needs of anyone that's really busy. And that's mostly people between 25 and 55 is where we initially started off at, because we're a young company, we're self-funded, we don't have any VCs, we're just kind of trying to do this on our own. And what we have discovered over our first year is that, there's a whole bunch of use cases here that we didn't foresee. So a couple of those is, yes, the athletic part. That's my wife's background. Me in a different way, being a former special operator in the Army. I also have I'm used to working at a very high level of physical performance while trying to maintain like a cognitive sense of what's going on. And that was where we aimed initially. But as we were getting feedback from customers as they're sharing it out, like my wife's father, which she credits 100% with her drive to do well in her entrepreneurship, because he high school educated, basically. Let me tell his story because I love bragging about David. David's one of my favorite people in the world. So David is a high school educated guy in Colorado Springs, and there's a hailstorm, and a bunch of roofs were damaged. And David said, I can fix that. So he went and got certified, just started fixing roofs for people. And then that started a contracting business, which was successful in Colorado Springs. And he's been doing contracting and labor like that ever since then. He's been doing it well. And that all just started with I see a problem. I'm going to go fix that. Oh, nobody else wants to fix it. I'll do it. Let me be the person that goes and sits in the roof in the sun all day. And let me see if I can build something. And he built a very successful contracting business in the Springs, and now he does it up in Minneapolis. But it was that drive that got my wife into it, and I think it's one of those things that made me proud to kind of see that growth brought down, kind of helps us feed into our own kids. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, I can ramble sometimes. So
no, that's great. And so your father-in-law you saw as a really good customer for your product? Exactly.
So he's in his 60s now. He's been physical his entire life. There's been a lot of research that's come out that suggests that taking collagen is really, really important to maintaining joint health and flexibility and skin elasticity. And he started taking it. And of course, anything takes a little while to get going, but he takes one in the morning. He takes one during the day as well. And it's found that he's easier to get his hydration in because he likes the flavor. It's easy to drink. It's very light. It's very refreshing. And he noticed over the course of the first week, he wasn't quite as sore going up and down stairs. He wasn't when he was laying tile or when he was, replacing cabinetry in a building or something. He's like, this actually works. He's like, you might be onto something. And I'm like, we think we're onto something. We think it's a good
fantastic thing.
So we have a lot of contractors that use it, anywhere from Minneapolis to Denver. And they use it for the crews. And they've actually seen, we don't have any hard data on this, but saying people aren't hurt as much. People seem to be working a little bit more efficiently, and people don't seem to have as many aches and pains. Now, we don't have any hard data on that, but we never would have thought in a million years. A third thing is, my wife would go out and with her friends, and they would go enjoy their evening, and they'd come back, and she wouldn't be feeling great because, of course, they might have taken a few drinks in. And next thing you know, she's like, give me a thing of Neotein. I'm like, okay, I give her some Neotein. Only person to wake up without a hangover the next day. And it makes sense if you think about what helps your body process alcohol through the system. Well, you need protein, you need electrolytes, you need sodium, you need potassium. And that's essentially what our product is. So it kind of helps with multiple forms of recovery or just sustainment of people's kind of physical.
What I do is I have a 4-pillar system that helps people really decide what they're doing with exercise, nutrition, stress reduction, and hydration. And when I look at Neotein, it covers a lot of those areas. I mean, there's a hydration component. There is, your body can be stressed if you're not getting enough proteins or any particular nutrient. It can put some stress on you. So with that being said, how do you know, Chris, if you're getting enough protein?
So things that I was taught when I was at the Special Warfare Center in school, going through training by our nutritionists, and was that signs of protein deficiency and dehydration can a lot of times be similar, right? So there's fatigue, there's foggy mindedness, there's a soreness associated with it. And these were all things that we were taught when we were becoming operators to look for when we were in the field, as a sign like, hey, you need to stop and you need to eat something, or hey, you need to stop and you need to drink something, or honestly, you probably need to do both. And Neotein definitely addresses two of those things, right? We are not a meal replacement. We don't want to be a meal replacement. We think most human beings get the majority of their stuff through what they're eating every single day. So we are not trying to pop down 600 calories. So what Neotein specifically does is aims at these two things that people are oftentimes like deficient on. They're deficient on like a high quality protein. They're deficient on like an intake of collagen, which usually comes from like an animal, and they're deficient on their hydration. And we thought, let's just knock all three things out in one, or two things out in one, and just help people get their hydration and their protein in a very simple way, just to help supplement what they're already doing throughout the day without being so calorically heavy. We're only 45 calories to stick back. We're not going to spike your insulin with sugar. We're going to be easy to digest. And it's one of those things that I think that simplicity for a customer who wants something that is, they can grab out of their drawer. They just happen to have water sitting next there. Just pop in there, stir it. It dissipates in about 25 to 35 seconds, and sip on it, drink it, do whatever you need to. It's a really easy way to do what you're doing. So,
nice. So you make it, more bioavailable than what, like eating a piece of meat.
So yeah, hydrolyzed collagen proteins are very easily absorbed into the large and small intestine as it's going. I've learned so much about protein in the last 2 years. It's been incredible. So it's super easy to absorb, very bioavailable, very easy on the body. And yeah, just, it'll go a little bit quicker than probably eating a full flank steak on like 2 p.m. You're not going to feel quite as heavy. You're not going to want to take a nap afterward.
How can someone find your product? If they want to try the Neotein protein, what would I do? Where would I go?
Sure. So we do a ton of pop-ups here in Jacksonville, Florida. So we're at the 904 pop-up last week at the beach. We do stuff at First Place Sports here, which is a local running company, one of our best partners, and what some people we're very proud to work with. And they've been very supportive of local small business here in Jacksonville as well.
They're a great organization.
Great organization. I bought my first pair of shoes for running from their store when I was 13 years old, when I was running for Wolfson High School under a guy named Coach Paul Nowicki, and is the same guy that I talk to this day, Doug, and he's been absolutely wonderful and very supportive. So it's fun to watch things keep going 20 years later. So First Place Sports is a great place to do it. Support two businesses at once, right? You can get it from our website, neotein.com. And we do offer a code for people to try things out. So you just have to do my name, Chris, then 5050. And that's 50% off people's first order, whether it's a subscription or whatever. And that helps them, try something at a reduced cost for less risk, I would say. Or they can, get his stuff off Amazon as well. In case people are I like to one-stop shop off Amazon. We have a product on Amazon as well if people want to purchase it there.
Hey, and don't panic. If you missed any of that, it's going to be in the show notes connected with this show. Okay. So all you'll need to do is click, and all that information will be there. Because I know when I'm usually listening to something, I'm like, oh my God, I can't write that down so fast. Well, don't worry. Click on the show notes and you'll get all the information on how to reach Chris and try out some Neotein.
Awesome.
Chris, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm very, very honored to be on your show, Max. I really appreciate it. I look forward to continue to talk to you in the future and learn from you on your awesome podcast. Thank you so much for having me on. Hey,
next time we want to meet your wife too.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
She's the creative side of this great organization.
Absolutely. If you want to talk to her, she can chat for hours on just the process of running a business in the CPG market and being a woman in a place where there aren't always a ton of women CEOs in that space. So she's had a really awesome challenge, and she's overcome quite a bit, and she's been very successful so far. So I'm very proud of her.
Hey, so you've listened to Chris Kell with the COO of Neotein. I keep messing up the name.
No,
Neotein Nutrition. And they're my favorite protein experts. So I'm sure big things are going to be coming down the line. And I'm always excited when Jacksonville companies do things like this. Like, being founded in Jacksonville, I think is really pretty cool.
So got to start that. We started in Atlanta because I was living in Atlanta at the time.
Then I'm taking away your Jacksonville points.
So we moved to Jacksonville. We are headquartered here now. I'm from Jacksonville, and we're not going anywhere. But we started in Atlanta. and moved here as soon as we could. So,
hey, thank you very much. You've been listening to Your Health Moment with my guest, Chris Kell, and me, Dr. Fitness. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Your Health Moment podcast. If you enjoyed what you've heard, you can visit our website, yourhealthmoment.com, for past episodes, show notes, and all the resources that we mentioned on the show. Feel free to connect with me on social media too. Send me a DM and let me know what your thoughts are about the episodes that you've been listening to. And don't be shy about requesting any other show topics that you might like to explore.